going to be going over today. Once again, I'm Furr. This is going to be the third part of my sweep series, and this is actually an excerpt out of my newest album, Nostalgia. The very first song, Urgent Pursuit, has these sweeps. It's actually pretty much the very first lead, except for I added a second part to harmonize with the other sweeps. That way we could go over a little bit more difficult reach because they're further down on the neck. It's crucial that you guys hold your picks pretty much just like this, where you have it in between your index and your thumb. I have a video prior to this one that you can watch and see how I hold my pick. It goes into detail and stuff. And the reason why is if you're going to be doing any sweep tapping, especially if you want to get into the multi-fingers, which I'm going to do in a second, you really need to have these three fingers available. Not so much your pinky, I mean, unless you're going to develop that, which is pretty difficult. But then you want to be able to reach to do a tap, and obviously you just keep your pick here because that won't get in the way then. Make sure you tap with a curl finger. You don't want to have it flat, you want to curl it. And I generally pull down. You can pull up though too. I know a few people that do that where they just go like that. I go down. Either one works. But you do need to make it a distinct pull off. So you need to make sure that it hits and then you pull it. That way it can get to the next note and stuff too. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. They're very simple, just two shapes you're alternating between and tapping. And I just mainly wanted to get to a tapping section where we could go over something simple. I'll do something a little bit more difficult in a few minutes. So I'm tuned down a whole step. So if you're not tuned down a whole step, then play 2 frets below me. So basically, we're going to be doing a minor, major, major, minor. That's for the first one, which is on the left of your screen. And I'll be providing the tabs up in the corner while we go through them. So the first one is a D minor, which is just the 19, 17, 16, 17, 15, 19, 24. And for all of the ones on the E string, you hammer on and pull off. And then you just descend. You don't go back to the root though. You just go down and then you start on the next root right there. So then the next one is a major, which is just a little bit different, not much. It's going to be 17, 16, 14, 15, 14, 17, 22. Once again, these are all hammer on and pull offs on the high string. Then you descend, once again, not going all the way to the root. And then you just have another one, 2 frets down. And then you have another minor, 1 fret down. Okay? So, like I said, it's just minor, major, major, minor. Very simple. And the sweeps go from 24, 22, 20, 19. Sorry. So that part's very simple. Just work it up very slowly. It's at 200 beats per minute, doing eighth triplets, so it's not that fast. Very manageable for beginner that's wanting to learn how to do sweep tapping, and intermediates if you just want to learn to clean it up more. Remember to keep your hands in sync, and also remember to mute with this part of your palm. If you didn't watch my previous videos, I suggest you do. And remember right when you go to the next note to make sure this other note is lifted off. That way they don't ring through, but you want them to connect. So right when this one hits, the next one takes over. So just try and do that nice and slow. And now that you've got that part, I recommend you pause the video and go ahead and work on that one a few times, and then we'll be going over the right one, which is a little bit more difficult due to the spacing of the frets getting further apart and the reach therefore getting further apart as you go down to the tap. Now that I'm sure you guys are all masters of guitar and probably learned that in about 5 seconds, right? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go on to the next ones. These were not played in my album, so don't go and try and hear them because they're not there. They are at the beginning of this video, mixed in, and they are on the right side. So this one is going to be the opposite as the first one, but different frets, of course. So it's going to be major, minor, minor, major. So they're the same shapes though as the other minors and the other majors. Same shapes. I'll have the tabs though you can follow along with up in the corner again. So the first one's major. Start on 15, 14, 12, 13, 12, 15 hammer on, and then you're going to tap on 20, go back down, and then we don't go to the root, remember. Then you go down 1 fret to do the minor. So that's going to be 14, 12, 11, 12, 10, 14, 19. Back down. And then we're going to go down 2 frets to the 12th fret, which is a G minor. So that's going to be 12, 10, 9, 10, 8, 12, and then we're going to hit 17. I know that one's a little bit of a reach. Go back down. And then we're going to come to the 10th fret where we got to do a major sweep. So that's 10, 9, 7, 8, 7, 10, 15. And this is probably going to be the hardest one for you guys. Come back. Alright, now let's go ahead and look at something a little bit more complex. This is a 2-finger sweep tap. So this is just a minor sweep like we learned previously. Same shape. I'll still have the tabs up there. It's just a little different pattern. So let's go ahead and try this. It's going to be 12, 10, 9, 10, 8, 12. And instead of just going straight to it, to keep it in time and to make it feel much smoother, you go back down. So pull off to 8. Then we go 10, 9, 10, 8, 12. And then here comes the tap. You do 17, and then you do 19 with your third. And then you pull it off. So for this part, obviously this is the main part of it. It's just a tap, and then your third finger, make sure you hammer it down. You kind of have to learn how to get that independency. You can see my pinky does move with it a little bit, but not as much if you see it from my angle. And I don't plant my finger. You can see it's just right there. And then you pull it off. So you just got to build up that strength. To pull that, you kind of flick it, and then you let that one off too. And then you come back down. And you land on the root. Pretty much all there is to it, to be honest. It's not that hard once you get it, and then you can incorporate it anywhere. But of course, the further down you get, the bigger the spread is, and therefore the more difficult it becomes to have that that power and stuff. But once you get the hang of it and stuff, and I've been doing it for a long time up here, moving it down really isn't that difficult. So best of luck. If you guys have any questions or any comments, feel free to leave them here, post them, and be sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching.